Today is, did I put how many days it was? Did I say it was 5? Wait a minute. I don't know if I put the right date on there. I don't know. But anyway, today is 5. It's been 5 days since I had a cigarette. So what I've noticed is the first day that I quit smoking cigarettes. No sweets, no, I ain't gonna say no sweets. I'm gonna say no cookies. No cookies, no candy, no potato chips, whatever. The first day is easy because for some reason that first day you be like, hey, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this. The second day was easy too, because I was just like, well, I just need to focus on something else. I just need to do something else. The third day was easy. The fourth day was a challenge. Because by this time, I'm starting to feel these nicotine urges hitting me, and I'm noticing that I'm not sleeping as sound. Like I'm tossing and turning because normally I would get up when I wake up in the middle of the night. I just go and smoke a cigarette, you know. But I'm not able to do that. So I'm kind of tossing and turning a little bit more. And yesterday I was just irritable. And then it was like, and it seemed like the people online must have known I was irritable because then they asked me a question about Trump and Biden, which of course, anytime you start talking about Trump and Biden, that's just like a whole. And so they was going in. I don't never get this. I can't tell what y'all are saying while I'm actually on live. So I got my laptop. See, I pulled out my laptop. I was like, let me see what these people be saying. Because I know, I kind of know the cues of when to get offline. Because y'all, the evil ones come. And then they start to, they start to going in. But, so today, which is day 5, I haven't had a cigarette in 5 days. And I'm feeling a little bit like it wasn't as bad. I got my got my water because it's good to drink water. Hey, how you doing? And I got my I can see. Okay, Bloxy Surfer. I can see you for some reason. Usually I can't see y'all. And Tartak and Bruce, how y'all doing? So I got my water, right? And I have let me go over here to my live. So let me see what y'all be saying because I don't know what y'all be saying. So I can see and I'm not the type that I'm gonna be like getting on here cussing people out and all that kind of stuff. I'm just not. I'm not like that. I'm not. I don't do all that. But anyway, I just want to see what y'all saying. But I don't want it to be an echo. Let me see. How do I block? But probably how do I do it? Because I don't. I don't want. I want to put it on the live so I can see what y'all saying because I can't really see from here. But I don't want. I don't want. Maybe that. Okay. So let me hit the live and let me see what y'all be saying. Let me see. Is it gonna show me? Okay. Here we go. Okay. Look, this ain't what's that one thing that y'all what's that one website? This ain't I forget the name of that website. What is that website? What they be doing the most? I ain't doing the most, y'all, on this website. I'm not doing the most. Only thing I'm doing is I'm getting on here and showing my. Oh, I did put 5 day. No smoking challenge, day 5. Yes. Avoiding self-sabotaging actions related to fear and anxiety. That's what I want to talk about. So anyway, I've been eating my sunflower seeds and drinking water, and I have not. I have not. Even yesterday, even when I got home and I was irritated, I was still kind of irritated, especially when I got back online and I seen everybody was like, Trump, they calling me all kind of names or whatever. I don't care. Let me tell y'all something. I grew up being tortured because I was dark skinned. I grew up dealing with name calling and stuff, so that stuff really don't bother me. So when I look on here yesterday and people was calling me all these kind of names and stuff, my thing is why y'all all emotional about it? Like why y'all taking it so serious to where if somebody says even Trump's name and they say something against it, y'all get to jumping all out of order and calling people names and stuff. Y'all too emotional. Y'all too emotional about that situation. So anyway, I don't care if y'all call me names and stuff. I don't care. It really don't bother me. I've been called names since I was a little kid. But if you've been tortured since you was about 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, by the time you get to 45, 50, you don't give a damn. You don't care. No, you cannot get the N word. No. Like, be nice. I don't understand why people can't just be nice to each other. So, anyway, beyond that, today was like self growth day, you know? And so I've been really concentrating on self growth things, you know, and not repeating self sabotaging behavior. So this is what I noticed, right? When there's fear, I appreciate you. When there's fear, when you're afraid of something, you know, maybe you had a traumatic experience as a child. Like for me, name calling when I was young was pretty traumatizing, you know. So there were some periods of time growing up that I had self-esteem issues, right, and all that kind of stuff, which may have stopped me from doing things because I was worried about what people thought about me. Singing, for example, I never joined any talent shows until I was like, gosh, I was in college. Even though singing and music has been my love and acting, all that kind of stuff has always been in me, but I was afraid. I was so stage fright. I was so worried about what people thought about me that I never even tried for stuff because I was like, you know, if I get up there, they're gonna laugh at me. Well, I went through all that as a child. That's why this don't bother me. I don't care. Y'all call me what y'all want. Say what y'all want to say. I don't care. But as a child, it was traumatic. It was a traumatic experience. Sometimes we can bring trauma from our childhood, things that we didn't really get over, and we bring them into our adult life. And sometimes we can do stuff that's self sabotaging because we're still, we haven't dealt with those issues, those childhood issues, those, you know, let's for instance, I cannot stand when I hear parents talk to their child like, get your little fat self over here, little greedy, you always eating what you want, I get so tired, where you all little fat self. Like, they start doing that when they little, you know, little fat self, bring your little fat, bring your bald headed self over here, come here, sit down, stupid, you know. They start doing this kind of stuff. This be in their own home. This be in their own families. This be the mamas and daddies and grandmamas and aunties and cousins. And, you know, it be them that start this whole traumatic experience for this child. So this child might have some issues, you know, with maybe she do a little thick. A lot of children just be chubby or thick or whatever. But when the parents be like, look at your fat stomach. How many pieces of candy did you have, fatty? You know, all that kind of stuff, that messes with them, right? And so growing up, they start to have self esteem issues. And then suddenly they don't even feel beautiful. They don't feel cute. They feel, you know, insecure. They feel not worthy. And so to fit in, they'll do stuff like, you know, do what somebody cool is doing. Like maybe they want to be friends with somebody, and that person smokes cigarettes. Because a lot of stuff start when they're young. I know I was 19 when I started smoking cigarettes. Some of them be younger than that, and sometimes they just do that stuff just to be cool or be accepted because there are self-esteem issues. You know, there are issues. So why would you ask me if I'm black? I'm trying to figure out, why would you ask me if I'm black? Obviously, I'm an African American woman. Obviously, I know you understand your colors. So that's why I don't be seeing stuff. Cause see, I know if I be looking at stuff while I'm on here, I probably will get distracted because some of y'all is off the chain. Some of y'all off the chain. Some of y'all be making me laugh though, but some of y'all off the chain. But anyway, because I ain't gonna be on here long. Because the evil ones will come if I be on here too long, and I ain't going for it. But so you get these teenagers who are dealing with self esteem issues, and then they start these self-sabotaging behaviors, and it starts off with them trying to be, you know, wanting to be accepted. So maybe they'll go ahead and hit that cigarette or smoke that weed for the first time or take that drink, and then before you know it, you know, the way that they crush those those emotions is they would rather be high, so they don't gotta experience it. I don't want to experience the pain, so I'm just go ahead and hit a couple joints, or this, that, or the other, and then one thing leads to another. The next thing you know, if they have a really bad crisis, because that's the way they've been handling their issues is through substances. See, substances help to curve the issue. It helps you not focus on the problem. It's never good. This the thing, right? You start to become dependent on it. I started becoming dependent on cigarettes. I can't handle the stress of where my cigarette at. I get mad at my kids. They acting up. Where my cigarettes at? My man ain't acting right. He tripping out. Where my cigarettes at? They tripping off at the job. They ain't got on my nerves. Where my cigarettes at? It's like you start to use that substance as a way to deal with whatever's going on. Not even realizing, that you're creating an addiction, or you're doing stuff. And then you start doing other stuff that becomes self-sabotaging behavior. All because you're really trying to deal with that childhood issue, that traumatic experience from a child. You feel what I'm saying? Definitely focus on Jesus. Let me see. I know y'all saying the most. So whatever, I hope I need to find, I learned how to do the moderator thing. I learned one of the ladies, they showed me how to do it. It was 8 when I drove and smoked. It was, and was 13. You know what? For those of y'all who y'all don't want to go up here and call me all kind of names and stuff, y'all know I'm telling the truth. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. We use cigarettes and stuff like that to calm our nerves, or so that we don't have to think about whatever is going on the inside. I'm finding that, once I get past the whole point of I'm not smoking, because that's a shock for me, because I've been doing the same behavior since I was 19. It's a habit. It's like comb your hair, go to the bathroom, want a cigarette, eat, drink, sleep, cigarette, cigarettes have been a part of my life. So to not do it is almost like you missing something. So what I'm noticing is it's important to focus on something else. And in focusing on something else, it does something for your self-esteem, for your body image, for how you feel about yourself. I look, when people get on here and they call me ugly, I just smile, because I know I'm a queen. I don't need for nobody to tell me. I don't care. Beauty's in the eyes of the beholder. And if your eyes can't see my beauty, that's okay. Everybody's not going to see whatever, but that doesn't bother me. Why? Because I have done enough self-healing since I was a young girl to understand that God didn't make no mistakes when he created me. None. He didn't make no mistakes when he created y'all. When he created the man, the woman, if you got a pimple, that pimple was supposed to be there. If you got big ears, you supposed to have big ears. Maybe you need to hear some stuff that other people can't hear, once you start to deal with whatever the trauma is, you start to realize the self-sabotaging behavior, and you start to become willing to deal with it. So this 31-day challenge is not just about me not smoking. It's not just about me not eating candy. It's not just about me, not eating potatoes or whatever. It's about who who are you without the cigarette, Patricia? And do you have the control to not smoke? Can you do that? Can if that is a self-sabotaging behavior, are you able to control that? And what can you replace it with? What can you replace that behavior with? You know? Wait a minute, my computer went off because I want to see what y'all saying. I don't. Everybody's not going to understand me. Everybody's not going to understand the energy waves that I'm coming from. Everybody's not going to understand what I'm saying because, you know, they just not. I could talk to people all day long and they're not going to understand. But for those of you who have ears to hear, and you have discernment, you understand what I'm saying. A lot of times these self-sabotaging behaviors are because of trauma. I remember when I first wrote my book, This Can't Be Love, and as I was making it into a movie, my family was very unhappy with me. They was mad, really, because back in the day they felt like whatever happened in the home stayed in the home. You're not supposed to tell everybody. But my thing was this: there's too many children who have been killed because didn't nobody say nothing. There's too many children who the warning signs for child abuse was there. The neighbors seen it. The people saw it, but didn't nobody said nothing. I think the biggest thing for me was when I was an adult, right? I was up in age, and I'm talking from the movie This Can't Be Love that I did. This actually you can look at on YouTube, but I went back to my old neighborhood, back to the house that I was living in at the time when I was going through the abuse, you know, severe abuse. I'm like, it ain't nothing but the grace of God that I'm still here type abuse. And there was a lady who still lived there. She still lived in the community. Now, mind you, this is years. At this point, I think I might have been about 30, right? And she saw me and she recognized me because, pretty much I think I still looked the same. Even though I was older, I still looked the same kind of or whatever. And I think what broke my heart is not that she remembered me, but that she remembered me and she knew that I was being abused. She said the whole neighborhood knew. The whole neighborhood knew that I was being tortured and they didn't do nothing to stop it. That's what hurt me. Not so much for me, but for all the children who are like me or were like me, who were being abused, and people in the community knew it. People in the family knew it. The people at school knew it, and they didn't do the things that need to be done to stop it. That is the worst thing. And then you hear about the child, on the news, a child found in freezer dead. Y'all had signs that child was being abused long before that baby popped up on the news. People knew that child was being abused way before that, and nobody did nothing about it. So for me, telling my story and allowing myself to be vulnerable about the childhood abuse I went through and all that kind of stuff is my way of raising awareness. A lot of children or a lot of adults are still dealing with childhood trauma. You still dealing with the abuse that you witnessed between maybe your mother or your father, or you're still dealing with those words. Come here, fatty. Come here, ugly. Come here, this. Come here, that. All that kind of stuff as a child. It's horrible to deal with it out in the world with people who don't know you, but it's worse when it's in your own home, or it's with the ones that say I love you. You know what I'm saying? So when you don't deal with those childhood traumas, you look for a way to mask those emotions, those feelings. You haven't learned how to deal with the anxiety. You haven't learned how to deal with the fear, or the sleepless nights or whatever. So you end up wanting to be cool, wanting to be accepted, wanting to be loved. So you end up either in these dead end relationships or picking up substances like cigarettes or alcohol or weed or crack or heroin or all that kind of stuff, because you want to mask the pain. Because you don't want to think about the trauma. So on day 5 of me not smoking, it's making me think about, what has cigarettes really done for me? What have they really done for me? And what am I really missing by not smoking? Really what it did was yesterday it made me have to figure out a new skill to deal with anxiety. It made me have to deal with. It made me have to find a new way to deal with irritation. It made me have to find a new way, and it also put me in thought. And it made me start thinking about my life. And I had some emotional times within it because this last year has been, ooh, Jesus. But it made me start to thinking like, where, what was it that really led me to smoking cigarettes in the beginning? Why was I so open to it? Even though I knew that it was bad for you. Like, what was it? What was the, and then I remember probably even long, 12. I remember like, because people in my home smoke. So it was just like, I don't know. It just, I was going, I've been, my childhood was traumatic. So I was always trying to find something to take my mind off or not think about. Because once everybody in my family, because when my grandmother finally got custody of me, and I'm growing up in the home with my cousins and everybody, it's like everybody knew. So it was just like, I, you know, it's like they treated me like they knew. Maybe not on purpose, but. So it was like I always had that you was an abused child type thing over me for some years. And I really felt like I had grown through it, I had gotten through it. It didn't bother me. It really does. I forgave. I've been forgave. Forgiveness wasn't has never been hard for me. But I think there did come a time when I was wondering, did I really deal with it or did I just mask it? And the cigarette's a way to help me not think about it. And it happened when I was on the radio with MBJ Live. And MBJ Live asked me one day, he said, Patricia, and I don't even know why he asked me this. Maybe because I responded to something in a way that just triggered this question in him. But he asked me, he said, Patricia, are you really over the abuse? And I was like, what? First of all, wait. He was like, are you really over your childhood abuse? And I'm like, yeah, I'm over my, yeah. Like, I don't think about that no more. I didn't even really know why he said that to me. So anyway, but it did make me think. So then, not long after that, at this point, I was working in Chicago and Atlanta. So I was like working in Chicago, living in Atlanta, and doing the radio show in Atlanta. So I would like have to fly back and forth to work, flying back between Atlanta and Chicago. And so on this, not long after he said that to me, not long after he posed that question to me, I had to go to fly to Chicago for a training. And I did everything I needed to do to make sure that I made that flight. Because I knew that I had to be at work at 9 o'clock for that training. I could not miss it on that Monday. So I made sure I had everything. I had, the garage, how you park your garage. I made sure my garage, that was all set up. I had the plane. I knew when the plane had to land and how long it had to be, everything. I had everything lined up so good so I would be there on time. I got up that morning. I'm so happy because I'm like, all right, all right, all right. My plan was to park my car in one of those garage places, ride to the airport, put my stuff, luggage on, be on my way. But that ain't the plan that God had for me. God didn't have that plan for me. So I get it. I go to the garage, drop off my car, get on the bus, but I get on the wrong transportation bus or something because the shuttle didn't take me to the Atlanta airport. It took me to the international airport. Now, mind you, I'm on a time crunch here. It took me to the international one. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I had to get back. I had to walk around to a different shuttle, get back on, to go back around to get back to where I was supposed to be. By the time I got there, I know I had enough time to get my luggage up on there and still get in there to catch my flight. But the man told me, "Oh, you're not gonna be able to You're too late to put your luggage on here." I'm like, "What are you talking about? My plane don't leave for 30 minutes." He was like, "I'm sorry, man, we're full. You're gonna have to take the next flight." What? Why do I gotta take the next flight? So when I get They force me. I am forced to take the next flight. When I take the next flight, I'm irritated because I'm already know I'm late. I had to be there on time, and I was late. I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to walk in there this late. So as I'm getting off the plane, there's a stewardess, and to everyone who's in front of me, he says, "Have a nice day. Have a nice day. Have a nice day." But when he gets to me, he says, "Take the day off." Okay. So I was just like, you know what? I'm in Chicago. I can't go to work today. I might, and I'm not gonna be able to fly out, until later on. So I might as well do something. So I was like, I'm gonna go to the movies. At the time when I decided to do that, the movie The Shack. I know y'all heard of the movie The Shack. It was out, right? And I was like, I'm gonna go see The Shack. And because of the time of the day that I went, there wasn't nobody in the theater but me. And I sat there and I watched this story about this man who had this traumatic experience when his daughter was kidnapped and killed, and what God took him through, and all that happened in the. By the time that movie was over, I was in there crying like a baby and asking God my own questions, like, why? I was an innocent child. Like, why? Like, I had to go through those motions. I really did. And it's at that point that I understood what Marvin was saying. Maybe I wasn't over the traumatic experiences of my childhood. Maybe I had just stuffed it somewhere. And I was using cigarettes to deal with the emotions that came from it. You understand what I'm saying? So during this journey, I'm learning more about me. And it's really making me a stronger person, but it's also allowing me to help other people with their traumatic situations. Because um, a lot of the traumatic situations are keeping you from moving forward in your blessings and your areas of gifts. You can't even deal with the gifts because you too focused on the pain of the environment, or being mad or angry at the world, or you shooting heroin up in your veins instead of trying to figure out how you can use your creative gifts that you've had since you was a child, or you too busy, you can't. How many blunts can you smoke? After a while you just like a zombie. But if you ain't you if you just sitting there zoned out, that's time that you could have been using in some area of growth. That's what I call self-sabotaging behavior. So anyway, that's what so today I'm much more peaceful. On the 5th day of quitting smoking, I'm much more peaceful. It really has made me think about, uh, my gifts, my talents, the things I've gone through, you know, um, what God has next for me. Like, it really has me sitting here thinking and planning and looking at self-help type stuff. And so, because now I'm not focused on not smoking, I'm focused on what can I, what other type of things can I do to keep my mind off smoking? I'm trying to turn my laptop back on. I'm trying to turn my laptop back on. I probably don't need to, because probably y'all saying something on here that I probably would be like, why are you saying that? You know what? Rochelle, is that Rochelle? This ain't nothing but God. God has allowed me um, to get past and forgive. That was probably one of the biggest things right there, was learning to forgive. A lot of people are so trapped in unforgiveness. They're trapped in unforgiveness tied to the traumatic situation. They can't even forgive, or nonetheless forget They can't sleep at night because their mind continues to play the traumatic experience. They have a nightmare still at the age of 20, 25, 30 about stuff that happened when they was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They can't even, you know, deal with it. They can't, they're consumed with it. They haven't forgiven. I had to learn forgiveness. I had to learn forgiveness. I had to learn forgiveness. I had to learn to, um, I had to learn. The hardest thing for me was when my father got sick. And I struggled for some years to be there for him because of that unforgiveness. But then it's like God touched my heart. And I was able to forgive him. I just couldn't be around him. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't be around. I was able to forgive him, but I just couldn't be around him. But then it came down to the point where I he needed me, and it was answering the call of him needing me. So I ended up getting him a caregiver, and me and the caregiver became best friends. He had a living caregiver, and every time he gets sick, I'll be there. And it made me, develop a close relationship with him, an unconditional love. And it was that. I think it was realizing how much time I had spent not forgiving him that was years wasted. Because when he died, it's like you can't get that time back. It's like a light bulb blows off in your head, and you understand. Well, he is only the way he was because of what happened to him when he was a child, and probably his father probably treated him like that or whatever because of what he went through when he was a child. And then maybe the reason that my grandfather was the way he was probably because of the way that his father treated him when he was a child, and maybe my great great grandfather was the way he was because of what he went through when he was a child. It's generational. You understand what I'm saying? So I cry so bad when he like that. That's why I got these teddy bears now. I am so still going through my grieving process because my father just died last year, and my cousin ended up sending me a grief bear. And my son ended up giving me one for Mother's Day. And so when I am in them times when I start to, feeling myself sliding back to any emotions that I haven't dealt with, I just grabbed the bear and just it's like God comforts me, and then I just start to thinking about something positive, and when I move forward. Sometimes though, in the past, it would be that time when I'm in the emotions that I would grab a cigarette, but I'm learning to not do that. See, the whole point is to replace that self-sabotaging behavior or that particular behavior or that habit with something else, doing something else. So anything that's going to help you to discover your gifts, anything that's going to help you to move forward in some kind of way, anything that's going to help you to get past your pain and your suffering and all that kind of stuff, like that's what you concentrate on when you decide that you're going to let go of something that's not good for you. Yeah. So, um, so that's my day 5, y'all. So each day, yesterday was rough. Yesterday was tough. Cause I swear to goodness, I wanted a cigarette so bad I couldn't think straight. I wanted a cigarette so bad I couldn't think straight. Well, you know what, Rochelle? I always believe that anytime people who come to my life and they're not coming to be evil. I ain't talking about the ones who are coming to be evil, but the ones who really are just like, what? I wonder what she's talking about. Any people who come here, God brings you. You know, God brings you because He knows what each one of us are dealing with individually. He knows our secret thoughts and our prayers and our fears and our worries and our anxieties and all the things of where we might need growth or where we need to pat ourselves on the back or what he knows us intimately, so he knows what we need. So he will send you to what I call destiny helpers. Destiny helpers are not always just people who are in your life to give you something tangible. Sometimes destiny helpers are the ones who will put you in deep thought and have you thinking or looking at things in a different way so that you can handle things in a better way. You understand what I'm saying? So, um, if God allowed me to be your destiny helper today, then praise the Lord. You know, if my journey, if my journey was meant to connect with your journey so that you could get this today, then praise God. You know, none of we, no matter where you are in your journey in life, there are people that you're connected to that you're supposed to either be a destiny helper for or who's going to be a destiny helper for you. And it kind of depends on, you know, what it is or where you are in your life, whether or not that destiny helper is supposed to give, you know, emotional help, mental help, spiritual help, financial help, whatever, connections, I don't know. But there are divine moments in time when you meet people for specific reasons, you know. Thank you, Handy. How y'all doing? So I'm not gonna stay on here long. I think y'all was being nice to me today, probably because you already cussed me out yesterday. I don't know. Y'all was already acting a fool yesterday, so y'all being gentle with me today. Thank you, I appreciate it. I'm not as many ugly blacks and this and that and that and this as I was yesterday, so I appreciate that. I'm glad y'all a little bit nicer. Anyway, peace and love to y'all. And I prayed that there was something that I said. And I know I was doing a lot of bumble jumble and kind of all over the place because I'm just speaking. But I hope that out of all this, you grab something. You know, I hope you grab something. I hope there was something in this live for you that is going to help you. If you didn't get nothing else but forgiveness, praise God. If you didn't get nothing else but, okay, I need to figure out another way how to deal with my childhood trauma. Praise God. If you didn't get nothing else but, I know there's a child down the street who I know is being abused. Let me go call children's services or tell somebody something or so. If you got anything, if something I said brought something out that you can use to be a blessing to somebody else, a blessing to you, and praise God. Or if what you heard me say is something that you found yourself saying to your own children, you say, you know what, I'm gonna stop talking to my kids like that. I'm gonna stop telling them they not this, they not that, they not that or this. I'm gonna stop giving them body image issues at a young age, and I'm gonna start telling them that you're beautiful. You're beautiful because our children are beautiful. You know, you're smart. You could do this. You could do anything you set your mind to. When I was growing up, I wasn't getting enough of that. I wasn't getting enough of, you got all these gifts and talents. Let me put you in this or that or that. I didn't have none of that. My grandmother didn't. She just didn't know how to do all that. Old school, hey, you got a house over your head, you got a roof over your head, and I feed you and I braid your hair and you clean every day. That's, go outside and play. They really didn't understand. So if you got something from what I said that can help you or your family or your children, and praise God, God used me today. On top of the fact that I ain't smoked in 5 days, I ain't smoked in 5 days, I ain't smoked in 5 days. Hey. All right, peace and love, y'all. Have a great day.